welcome to Krista's So Crafty. Today I'm going to show you how to crochet a granny square. This is a traditional granny square. There's lots of different variations, but this is the way I'm going to show you today. So to begin with, we need to grab our yarn, and I'm using this Pentex. It's called Motion, and we need a crochet hook that is 4.5. Alright, so let's get started. So the first thing we want to do is create our center circle. There's a few ways you can do this. You can either chain 5 and join them together with a slip stitch to create that center hole, or you can use what is called a magic circle. I'm going to show you how to do the magic circle. So you're going to take your wool and you're going to hold your wool against the back of your hand. You're going to wrap the yarn around your fingers and back around like this. You want to make sure you have that crossover motion. So then you're going to take your hook and you're going to go under the first wrap you did on your hand. You're going to grab your yarn and pull it back under, and then you're going to grab your yarn and pull it through, and that will create a chain. So what that does, I'll show you here, is it creates a little loop in our circle. And by having this tail, you can pull on the loop and it makes a chain, that center hole, smaller. Okay? So basically on this granny square, the only stitches we're going to be doing are double crochets and single crochets. Okay, so let's begin. We need to start off with a chain 3. So I've already got one chain on there. I'm going to create another chain. To do a chain, you're going to yarn over your hook, pull it through the loop that's on your crochet hook. I'm going to do that 3 times. Okay. Now we're going to do a double crochet. A double crochet is where you yarn over on your hook, go through that center hole, grab your yarn, pull it back through. You should now have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and go through 2 loops. Yarn over and go through 2 loops. That's how you create a double crochet. Let's just go over that one more time. Yarn over on your hook, go through your center hole, grab your yarn, pull it through. You've got your 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So basically you're going to be doing groups of 3 double crochets throughout this project. In this situation, our chain 3 that we did at the beginning acts as your first double crochet. So with that, now I have 3 double crochets. I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. We're going to do 3 double crochets into that center circle again. So 1, 2, and 3. Now the center hole sometimes gets bigger as you're working your double crochets in. Just give it a little tug and it'll make it smaller so it's a little bit more manageable. So I've completed my 3 double crochet. Now I need to do chain 3 and do 3 more double crochets into the center circle. It's 1, 2, and 3. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and do 3 double crochet again into that center hole. Okay, so now if you look at your work, you should have something that looks similar to this. So you have 1 hole, 2 holes, 3 holes. So we need to do our chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Now what we're going to do to close this up is we're going to do a slip stitch into the 3rd chain from our beginning chain. Okay, so count up 1, 2, and 3 and do a slip stitch in there. A slip stitch is you go through the center hole, the center of that chain, yarn over, pull it through, and pull it through the loop that was on your hook. You're not yarning over anything, okay? So there we have our beginning of our granny square. So we have our 4 corners, and you see how the hole is quite big and sloppy? I like to, at this point, grab that tail and give it a tug. And by doing that, it closes up that center hole and makes it so it's not so sloppy there. Okay? All right, so now at this point, we need to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now we're going to move over into this hole over here to complete our corner pattern. Okay, this is where we're starting our corner pattern. So that corner pattern is 3 double crochets, turn it, chain 3, and 3 double crochets. This will be our corner pattern throughout our granny square. Okay, so there, that's what we're doing. Okay, so now we're going to chain 1, and we're going to do 3 double crochets into the next hole, which is this one here. Excuse me. All right, so do our 3 double crochets. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do 3 double crochets. So that's 1, 2, and 3. So we've just created our second corner. Okay, chain 1, and repeat that same pattern again in the next hole. So 3 double crochet, chain 3, and 3 double crochet. Okay, so there we have our third corner. So 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, and do your pattern in the corner here. So 3 double crochet. Now this is our last corner that we're working on, so it's going to be a little bit different. So do your 3 double crochet, chain 3, and this time you're only going to work 2 double crochet. That starting chain that we did with the chain 4, that's going to act as our first or our last double crochet. So here I've got my 3 double crochet, my chain 3, and I've done 2 double crochets. Now what we need to do is count in that beginning 4 chain. We need to count up to the 3rd chain on the hook on there, and we're going to do a slip stitch. So put your hook in through there, grab your yarn, pull it through, and then just pull it through the loop. Okay, so now we've got row 2 finished, and we have our 4 corners. This time we're going to do a chain 3, and we're going to do 2 double crochets into this hole right here. So work your 2 double crochets. The chain 3 that we just completed acts as your first double crochet. So now we have 3 double crochets in that hole right there. We'll do a chain 1, and we'll move on into our corner. So we're going to repeat that pattern of 3 double crochets. There's our 3 double crochets, your chain 3, and 3 double crochets into that same hole. Oh, for Pete's sakes. Let's try that one again. Okay, so now we have our, oh my goodness, look at the knot I have going on here. All right, so we've created our corner, so now we can move into this hole here. We make sure you do your single crochet, your single chain, sorry, I apologize about that. Okay, so do your chain, and then yarn over and do your 3 double crochets into the center hole here. Okay, you need to do your chain and do your pattern in the corner. So 3 double crochet, chain 3, and 3 double crochet. I seem to have a big knot going on here. I'm sure this happens to everybody, but you know, it's not what you want to have happen when you're trying to record a video. Anyways, got the knot out, so let's continue on. I've got 2 double crochets and here's my third. So I've completed my corner pattern. We'll do chain 1 and then move on and do your 3 double crochets into the center hole. This kind of acts as like a bridge if you look at it that way. So we have our corner, your bridge, and then your corner, okay? So I'm moving from my bridge with my single, and now I'm gonna move on into the corner and complete my pattern. So my 3 double crochet, chain 3, and 3 double crochet. Chain 1, and now we're going to work into this hole here, right here. Do your 3 double crochet, chain 1, and now we're going to work on our last corner square for this round. So 3 double crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and 3 more double crochet into that same hole. Oops. Chain 1, and now we're going to do a slip stitch into the top of the chain, our beginning chain 3. Okay, so count up 1, 2, and 3. Put your hook in, yarn over, and then pull through the loop on your hook. Okay, so we've now just completed row 3. We have 1, 2, and 3. We have 1 more row to complete. This time we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're going to move over and we're going to do our 3 double crochets into this hole over here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, chain 1. Now we need to do our corner pattern. So chain 3. Sorry, 3 double crochets, chain 3, and do 3 more double crochets right into that same hole. Okay, now we need to do a chain 1. Now we're going to be working into this hole right here. We're going to do our 3 double crochet. With these granny squares, if you make lots of them, you're just going to continue on around. If you crochet lots of these, you can put them together and make them into a nice blanket. I've seen some beautiful baby blankets done with this. Or if you're really ambitious, you can make like a Afghan for the couch. The other thing that I've seen people do with these granny squares is put them together to make like a vest or a sweater. There's lots of different ways that you can use the granny square. Okay. The other thing I've seen people do is you don't have to stop. I'm stopping at row 4 because that's the size of granny square that I want for my project. But you don't have to stop at the 4th round. You can keep going, and as long as you have wool, you just keep going, and as you keep going, the square will continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And actually, I've seen an Afghan made out of 1 granny square, and they've just continued to go on with their rows and have it grow. It looked pretty cool. So I'm moving on into my corner here. So I'll do my 3 double crochet, chain 3, and 3 double crochet again into that same hole to create that corner. We're coming around, we're almost at the end here. Don't forget to do your your chain after when you're moving from one area to the other. Okay, so chain 1 and then do your 3 double crochet into the next hole. Chain 1, and we're coming up to our last corner here. And the thing is too, is if you use different size hook, you're going to get different size blocks. So at the beginning of the video, I told you I was using a 4.5 millimeter hook. If you were to use a larger one, your granny squares would be larger. If you used a smaller one, they would be smaller. I've seen granny squares made out of just the crochet cotton for doing the doilies and stuff. That looks very pretty too. All right, so I've finished my last corner. I'm going to do my chain 1, and I'm going to finish into this hole here where our chain 4 began. So I'm going to do 2 double crochets into that hole. And now I'm going to count up into the 3rd chain from our beginning chain, and I'm going to do a slip stitch. Okay, and there you have it. We are done. Now how I finish it off is I leave myself a little tail because we're going to need to tie these in, and just snip it off. Take your hook and yarn over and pull it through, and just pull that string all the way through and just give it a little tug, and that'll tie that off so it doesn't come loose. So there you have it. There's your granny square. Now what you can do is you can take a darning needle with a large hole and thread it onto, which is always fun. Thread your yarn onto your darning needle, okay? And then all you're going to do is to finish this, to tie these ends in, is you're just going to go and you're going to follow through some of these stitches. Okay, so I just take my needle and I go through, push it all the way through, and pull that yarn through. Just what you're doing is you're just you're just snugging it underneath some of this yarn. As you wear this, use this, wash it, the yarns and everything, they get all tied together, and so this will not come undone. Okay, so I've done that a couple times. I'm just going to snip this off. So that was the center one I did, and then you'll do the same thing on the edge, on the outside edge here. So just get your yarn onto your hook, your needle, sorry. And then this one, what I like to do is I don't want to work around the outside edge, because if I'm going to join these together, I don't want extra bulk in there. So what I do is I tend to go down through one of the double crochets. Okay, so just kind of follow it down to the row below and pull that through. Okay, and then I start weaving this yarn down here, and then that way it's not in the edge where it could cause more bulk, because as you start sewing these together you will get some bulk. All right, so I'm just going to wave this under a couple times. Now the other thing is you can double back on yourself. So I started over here and I went this way. So I'm just going to take my needle and I'm just going to go back through the same area. And this just helps to tie that yarn in there. Okay, and then we can just cut this off. And there you have it. There is our granny square. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you liked it, please click the like button, and you can always subscribe to my channel if you so choose. Have a wonderful day. Happy crafting.